if you look from worst scenario, then if present situation, present Chinese policy continue another 20, 30, 40 years. Of course, 50 years, more than 60 years now passed. Somehow, you see, we preserved. Now, next 50 years, if the Chinese communists really carry forceful sort of policy, and Tibetan become insignificant minority in our own land, like Inner Mongolia. The Mongolian native population around 3 to 4 millions, whereas Chinese population now nearly 20 millions. So the Mongolian in their own land now become insignificant minority. So this tendency, very possible, come to Tibet, in Tibet also. In that case, Tibetan unique cultural heritage, then difficult to survive. And moreover, in the eyes of communist hardliners' eye, the Tibetan unique cultural heritage and spiritual, in their eye, is the source of threat of separation, Tibet from China. So about 15 years ago, one party secretary, his name Teng Guiyan, he actually mentioned at one party meeting the ultimate source of threat, Tibet being separate from mainland China, is Tibetan Buddhist faith. So they deliberately carry some certain policy to eliminate, Tibetan Buddhist cultural heritage or Tibetan Buddhist spirituality. So then, from the viewpoint of 6 billion human beings, Buddhism of Nalanda tradition is one of the treasure of 6 billion human beings. So now, when Tibet really, disappear with its unique cultural heritage, including Buddhist faith, then who will take care about this treasure of East, treasure of India? There's a Nalanda tradition of Buddhism. Now, it is your responsibility now. So we, Tibetan refugee community, about 150,000, very small. So the people from whole northern India, Himalayan range, I think over around maybe 2 millions, sharing the same tradition as I already mentioned. Therefore, now on your shoulder, there's some responsibility about the preservation of Tibetan Buddhist culture, Tibetan Buddhism. Now become heavier and heavier. So now the proper way of preservation of Buddhist tradition or Tibetan Buddhist tradition. Of course, construction temple or construction of statue, it is good, but that's not very important. Sometimes I'm telling you, see, people, big statue, huge statue, very good, but statue cannot speak. So the living Buddhist tradition must, develop within human being. Just a statue cannot carry, these sort of living tradition. Therefore, now knowledge is the crucial. 계절 인인한테 들어고 와래. 계절 인인이 캐저 유니가 더 디송요래. 담배 담주 넘니디 롱도 떡배 더니도 덴지체바 마체바 주버체바 ኳ나인 ኳ네데 산제 롱도 담배니부지 진용 배송 지야디 롬니 자야다 주버냠니 샤 디치부인 스타체브레.
For example, the 4th century Indian Buddhist master Vasubandhu said in his Abhidhamma Kosha, a treasury of higher knowledge, where he says that if you look at the teachings of the Buddha, it consists of two aspects. One is the scriptural understanding of the Buddha's teachings, and the other one is the realization based upon that scriptural knowledge. And it is only by studying and upholding the scriptures and implementing that into one's own personal practice and gaining the realizations, it's only by means of these two activities that the Buddha's teaching is upheld. And he uses the word kona only.
So now, study Buddha Dharma is the key thing. As the other day I mentioned, generally in the eyes of people, there are one popular sort of concept of Buddhism. That usually we do. Some prayer because of flags. And also, for example, Ladakhi, Kiki, so like that. I think you also, doing some sangsur. And then prayer wheel and rosary and recite Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hung or Om Mani Peme Hung, like that. So that is popular level of practice. That's not sufficient. I think traditionally, the society uneducated, illiteracy. According to that reality, now simple way of practice. So eventually become popular sort of way of practice. So the real method is rigorous study. Now for that, not necessarily become monks or nuns. Anybody. Usually I call, now we Buddhist, irrespective of whether monk or nun, because of that, lay people, or men, female. Everyone. You see, we must be Buddhist with fuller knowledge about Buddhism, with modern education. Now, that's the definition of 21st century Buddhist. So therefore, study is very, very important. Now, firstly, with Tibetan community. Also, you see, they're trying their best to promote, you see, the knowledge of Buddhism, particularly among the younger generation. So in India, all the different sort of traditions, monastery, whether Nyingma monastery or Kagyu monastery, Giluk monastery, Saja monastery, or even Pembo monastery, or Shengshung, the Chona monastery, all these facilities are common for anybody. So those in bigger Tibetan monastery, in the refugee community in India, I think at least 5,000-6,000 monk students, as well as some nuns, come from non-Tibetan area, like Ladakhi or members, and also some from Nepal, some from Bhutan also, like that. So all our facility, since we are same Buddhist community, so all facility must utilize for everyone. So now, Tibetan school in India. Also, I discussed with Indian Foreign Ministry. Now, all these available Tibetan residential schools now must utilize for those Buddhist communities' children for their education. So in principle, government of India agree.